GH. And then the captain says, listen, I'm flying you from Accra to London. However, I don't have a navigational system. I'm going to use my experience to literally fly you. You and I know that everybody will disembark. The aircraft will literally crash because we are flying an aircraft called Ghana without any sense of direction. And so everybody is wanting to get into, board the aircraft, but we don't have a clue of where we are going. We must first of all develop a national vision. Thankfully, the National Development Planning Commission has launched an idea, which is great because every vision, every nation that has developed had over 20, 30 years vision. A real vision must have, a vision that is audacious must have about 20 to 25, 30 years plan. And then we can give it the necessary legal framework.
The argument is being, there's a 40-year vision coming up.
Yeah.
And the argument is that, look, it's too long. Break it up into 5s or break it up into 7s so that we can, like a timeline. After 5 years, and look, 5 years you've completed, let's do the other 5. But if you say 40, if by 5 you haven't achieved it, then they say, oh, don't worry, in the 8th year, we'll be able to achieve it. And then the next thing you know, the 40 years is up. So should it be shorter or should it be longer? I know the South Korea was doing 5 years. Kwame Nkrumah was doing 7 years. Even Georgesburg, I think, had a 7-year plan. So is 40 years too ambitious?
No, 40 years, every great vision has a lifespan beyond 20 years. Okay? So you can still have the 30-year vision plan, but you need to segment it, break it down into manageable period. It can be 7 years or 5 years, and then work towards that. And at every stage, you evaluate and find out what you have done, how far have you reached that. So there's nothing wrong to have the 30-year development plan or the 40-year vision, but we need to break them down into 10-year segments and then work ourselves into it. So that is good, but we need to break them down. And of course, that is what Nkrumah did. That is what other nations have done.
Did it take us too long to realize the good of Nkrumah? Up 2000.
Yeah.
Before he was a man of the millennium, and now we could not have enough for him. Did it take us too long?
Unfortunately, in part of my book, when I did, he made a speech, in 1963 during the AU at that time, inauguration, and then he said, in that point, I said, vision serves the interests of the people. And Nkrumah made this statement. He said, we are fast learning the political independence is not enough to rid us of the consequences of our colonial rule. He said, that is page 183. He said, if, therefore, now that we are independent, we allow the same conditions to resist that existed in colonial days, all the resentment which overthrew colonialism would be mobilized against us. The resources are there. It is for us to marshal them in the active service of our people. Right there in that statement, he even said, we have copper for electricity. We said we have, let me just put back what he said. He said we have uranium for nuclear power. We have copper for electronics. We have titanium for supersonic projectiles. We have iron for steel heavy industries and all other minerals. We have them in Africa. And he said, let's Africa unite. That was 53 years ago when he was dreaming about nuclear war. He was dreaming about nuclear titanium. And titanium. He was dreaming about all these electronic gadgets and dreaming of communication. He even at a point said the Sahara Desert can be converted into an agricultural, blooming environment. That was 53 years. So the statement of 1963 is still as current and real as today. Unfortunately, the leaders around his period at that time just couldn't understand and buy his vision. They thought he was too ambitious. And unfortunately today, he has proved all of us wrong, that the vision then was as good as today. So we need people who would cast a vision, but also empower the people, okay, so that everybody can buy into the vision. For example, if you have a vision, the academia, the education department will be able to now structure programs and develop subjects that can speak into the vision. And for that matter, everybody can find themselves in the vision. When they have an idea that we are going to go nuclear or solar, definitely our universities will prepare students to meet the demand. So the starting point for any society and any individual is nothing but a deliberate crafting of a vision that will drive our people. That is what we are lacking. And for that matter, that's what Africa has lacked for many years.
Also, I don't know if it's me or, some of the things that they're not in black and white, but you look at our education, and it's as if to say, look, let's keep developing the country, and sooner or later, education will catch up. You don't see that, look, let's do our education so that the country would move forward. Mm-hmm. It's like, let's keep developing, and, the education will catch up. And I say this because, look, with all these schools that they provide, free sandals, free school, free this, free that, the people who provide them will never, ever send their children there. Yeah. They would dare not. This cluster of school and that cluster of school, no minister would dare send the awards there. Mm-hmm. They would go to the Martin de Porres and the Bishop Bowers and the Morning Stars, and then they are left with us to take our children to these schools. So clearly, they are producing schools that they know is not quite fit enough. However, they say, look, let's develop infrastructure, this, that, let's go. Hopefully one day education will catch up. I mean, what should we do and what's happening?
Nana, I think if we probably establish a vision and we have an idea of where we are going, we will break them into various segments. For example, into education segment. And then under education, we will raise the needed standards. At least if you go to Europe, there are the public schools. The majority of the people go to public schools. And there are standards. Okay, and in the public schools, it must be owned by the community. It shouldn't be controlled from Accra or should be controlled from the district. Let the community take ownership. Put a board together to run our private schools. Let the community determine who would be the teacher. And then the district or the mayor should have power with the community to either hire or fire the teachers if they are not performing. So we should decentralize the authority so that to make sure the community owns the school. And when that is done, I believe that with enforcement of the rules, we will be able to raise the standard of our schools. Okay, and now, if the vision can be broken into both education, health, agriculture, industrialization, what I'll call socio-cultural transformation, infrastructural development, security, enforcement of law and order. If you are able to break this vision down, then every department is literally going to run with it. I believe, can you imagine that? Imagine a president takes over the country. We all agree that we are not well disciplined enough. We all desire to become like the developed nations. But we must change our work ethics. So can you imagine having a team, probably from the organized labor, trade union, and then asking them to go to a particular country in Europe and understudy their work ethics, their work culture. And then they will come back to Ghana and develop a 4-year development plan to ensure that people will develop a better work ethics towards the job they do. You do the same to health. You put a team together, they go to another country and develop and look at the health issues and the health and understudy them, come up with a plan that in the same 4-year development plan, people in the health sector are now going to develop better attitude. You do the same with the security. The police needs to be retrained and retooling. Then they go to the United States, for example, or any developed country, they understand the new modern way of policing and equipment. They come back. And in the next 5-7 years, every sector you have put together a national team of socio-cultural transformation, whereby we want to transition from the attitude we have to the better attitude. So everybody now is looking at the things they have studied, how do they implement it? So it will not only be the president trying to reinforce it, but that the people who have gone to borrow the concept will now monitor the transformation. And then the leader will ensure, the president will ensure that we are driving this socio-cultural transformation. It would be painful, but in a matter of 7 years, we can turn our country around and then become proud with other nations that we see.
I remember the days of Salifu Amankwa. For the young ones who are watching, there was a guy who used to manage or police circle, and he was called Salifu Amankwa. Now, today, maybe I would say, look, his idea was too brutish and not acceptable. But Circle was in order.
Exactly.
Circle was clean, no jaywalking, no dropping of litter. I mean, he owned the Circle. Now, realistically, if we are to tell the truth, in every department, in every sector, we need a Salifu Amankwa type. Maybe not abusing human rights, but very firm and very straight. But realistically, can that happen in this day and age? I don't think so.